Okay, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. So let's continue from our previous session. So without further ado, I would like to welcome the third group to deliver their idea, which is economists. Please welcome.
Bagilah some introduction sikit, brother. We are in another day, some like motivation or something, no?
Uh, I think everyone have a really bad day, but let's continue. Be happy, everyone, and
Why really bad day? Why?
I think everyone is quite a bit struggle with FYP maybe or their project. So macam tu lah.
Oh, I think you are struggling. Is it so?
Yeah, I think
Okay. So because you assuming everybody are struggling, but
yeah.
okay. All right. So
Yeah.
let me do the introduction lah, brother. Since
Okay.
you're also struggling. So let's have this discussion and let's purify our intention so that we can argue professionally. So right, so one of the objective is I want you to argue professionally, and one of the thing is to one of the thing that I want if we can produce here is for you to fight for other people cause. For example, you fight for the engineers, fight for the civilian. We need to learn how to stand for the people, for our people, ourselves and other people. So hopefully through this discussion here, you can defend yourself. So if somebody shoot you, government people shoot you, you try your best to to defend yourself, right? That's how it works. Nobody perfect, but we learn from here through this simulation how to defend yourself, inshallah. And also hopefully with this it will spark your mind of how to think. Sometimes with the question from your friend you have to think on the spot. It's also a good exercise. So let's betulkan niat kita. We are here to learn and also to as a training. This part really to train you to become leaders, inshallah. So I hope you will have fun through this. I had fun last start class. I really hope you also find it fun. Okay, Ghazali.
Okay, madam. Okay. So please welcome our first tech group to present about their idea, economists.
Doctor, can you? Okay, dah. Can you see the slide?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Okay, inshallah today we'll be explaining on the economic perspective whether IR 4.0 is good or not to be implemented in Malaysia in the future. As you can see right now, our economic situation of the country is quite bad due to the pandemic. It is still in recovery phase. So we think by implementing the IR 4.0 really can help in improving the Malaysia economy. So next, please. So one of the factors that affect the Malaysian economy right now is the labor productivity. If we can improve our labor productivity, inshallah, we can improve our country economy. Next. Okay. So one of the sector that boosts the country economics is on logistics. The Department of Statistics Malaysia in 2015 stated that 86 billion of gross output in Malaysia came from the logistics sector, and most of it is from the warehousing activities. So this shows that warehousing is important in contributing to country profit. Although we don't have any statistic on 2021, we can predict that the gross output for warehousing activity will be drastically increased due to COVID-19 pandemic, because a lot of transactions are using online platform. The problem right now is that on how Malaysia manage its warehouse. In Malaysia right now, we still use human workforce to manage the package in the warehouse. The productivity of the labor is low here because humans can get tired easily. You can see from the picture that how they sort the package. They just throw it like that. So it is not a good example in ethics. Other country, logistics sector that have implemented the IR 4.0, such as Amazon, can sort and manage the parcel and package properly by the help of autonomous mobile robot. This method is more efficient because the percentage of the robot to make mistake is low and the time taken for them to sort the package is faster compared to human. The International Data Corporation, IDC, stated over 70% of company that deploys the autonomous mobile robots in their warehouse have noted double digits improvement in their KPI, like productivity and their company economy. So if Malaysia can implement the same concept in our warehouse, inshallah our country profit can increase and thus improve the country economy.
Okay, thank you to Brother Hafiz. Now I will be explaining about manufacturing productivity with IR 4.0 and how it affects the economy of a specific country. In this case, I will relate with the statistic from the other countries. First thing first, we should know how does IR 4.0 helps to improve productivity in industries. Okay, next. According to Oracle, 60% of manufacturing industries implemented artificial intelligence AI in 2020 compared to only 35% in 2019. As you can see in the figure, AI managed to benefit factors that improve productivity of a factory, such as enhancing products and services, optimizing internal business operations with, and make a better decision. Okay, next. Now, let's take a look at the statistic of manufacturing industry's productivity. According to the International Trade Administration, USA, implementing the Industrial Internet of Things, IIoT, has increased the industrial productivity by 30%. Another study illustrates that a 1% increase in the automation system can increase the productivity by 0.8%. So we can see that if the number of automation increase, the productivity in the manufacturing sector will also increase. In the United States, industrial robot has installation, the IR 4.0 have increased the rate of return, ROR, with 10.28% in the past decade, with more than 40,000 robots in the 2018. I'll take Tesla as an example. In 2019, Tesla increased car delivery productivity by 40% compared to 2018. This is the result from the automation and robotics that have been implemented by Tesla, as tweeted by their CEO, Elon Musk. He tweeted that almost every element of production in the Tesla factory is more than 75% automated, with only 10% are manual. The figure shows that the Tesla vehicle production rise significantly from the first quarter of 2016 to the third quarter of the 2021, with the increasing number of robot use from day to day. Okay, next. The next question is, how does the productivity of the industries improve a country's economy? We should know that an increase in productivity means an increase in output. And increase in output can only be achieved by increasing the input and its efficiency. In this case, we'll be implementing the automation and robotics. As you can see in the figure, productivity increase allow US business sector to produce 9 times more goods with a relatively small increase in hours worked. Hence, with productivity growth, an economy can increasingly produce and consume more goods and services with the small amount of time. As a result, if the industries involve exportation, the rate of exportation will also increase, and this can increase the country's income that is good for the economy. Next, I will pass to Brother Hafiz.
Now, as we can see with the, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Now, as you can see from the rise of the input of the income and the productivity, what will happen is that there will surely be an increase in the salary of workers. So this is the statistic provided by the Department of Statistics Malaysia. As we can see from 2010 until 2015, we can see that the gross output increased, and also the salary and wages also increased. Likewise, for 2015 until 2017, which is the right picture, we can see also that the gross output increased and also the salary increases along with it. So I will take Mr. DIY as an example. So we can see on the right picture it is the income statement for the group. And we can see that from 2019, we can see that the revenue increased from 2019 to 2020. This also increases the administrative expenses, which is the salary for the workers. So in 2019, it grew by 30 million ringgit for the company. So what happened is that earlier this year in March, they launched their own e-commerce robotic warehouse, which is operated by automated guided vehicle AGV. So what happened is that we can see just 6 months after they implemented this robotic warehouse, we can see that the gross profit already increased almost to the point of the last year's gross profit. So we can say that for this year, at the end of the year, we can say that the gross profit will surely be more than the last year's gross profit, which means that the salary of the workers will increase. Okay, I think that's all for me.
All right, thank you, Brother Hafiz. So I'm going to continue to share on how transitioning to IR 4.0 in Malaysia from an economic standpoint could provide potential foreign investment opportunities to the country. Next. Next. So basically, IR 4.0 has significantly contributed to the improvement of the industrial environment, generating positive effects on the government's economies and development plans. So emerging technologies such as artificial intelligence, cloud computing, advanced robotics has the potential to automate many of the tasks currently done by workers. So, and as of right now, we currently rely on GDP, which stands for Gross Domestic Product, as an indicator of economic growth of a country. So GDP calculates a country's production of physical goods within the time period, and it reflects primarily on the performance of the manufacturing industry of the country. Therefore, the more the country produces goods, the better the economy of the country. So by implementing IR 4.0 in the industrial sector, it can increase the speed of processes, improving the efficiency of the production systems, and as well as reducing the number of downtime and problems. This in turn will lower the cost of production as well as operational costs. Therefore, the price of goods and services could be sold at a low price. And as a result, this has the potential to make Malaysian products stay competitive in the global market, and will ultimately attract more foreign investors to invest in our country's industrial sector. Next. So if we look at China, for example, just earlier this year, China has become the #1 destination for foreign investment ahead of the United States. And one of the primary reasons is because China has invested a lot in its infrastructure in nearly all manufacturing disciplines, which is optimized for high-tech manufacturing. By using automation and new technologies, they are able to produce a variety of goods at lower price and at mass level. And this is why you can see clearly that most of the things around us are made in China. And as you can see on the chart on the right, you can see that the foreign investments in Chinese government bonds have increased substantially over the past 5 years. And this shows that how the transition to IR 4.0 in Malaysia could provide potential for investment opportunities to the country. So next, I'll pass to Brother Zul.
Okay, thank you. And my name is Zulafis. Lastly, I would like to address another potential economic effect of IR 4.0, which that it helps in growing digital economy. In this context, an entire supply chain becomes affected due to IR 4.0 technologies, as they provide the solutions to improve the decision-making process in business operations. And this can improve the whole process from sales, marketing, accounting, and finance. By extracting insights from analyzed data, this allows more accurate prediction outcomes while optimizing the business, hence improving the economy. Next. Okay, for instance, Amazon has been using machine learning to predict and improve the future demand, or well known as demand forecasting. Demand forecasting helps in reducing the disruptions that arise from creating too much or too little supply. One of the challenges is that when the demand of a certain product spikes unexpectedly, where the burden on the supply chain can become more even difficult to handle without modern forecasting methods. As an example, when toilet paper sales surged at the peak of COVID-19 pandemic, Amazon used an AI-driven predictive forecasting to respond quickly to unforeseen demand trend and able to adapt to market fluctuations. It was very advantageous for them as traditional forecasting method might not anticipate the spike due to COVID-19. And I believe that is all the ideas we have, we want to address. And as our final stand, we as economists, we believe that IR 4.0 will economically bring a huge economic impact to Malaysia. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much, Economics Group. So thank you for the informative and interesting discussion. All right, ladies and gentlemen. So we have come to the Q&A session. So don't forget to mention your name and your group name. So does any group have any question to the economists?
Alright, cool.
Salam.
Can you guys hear me? Okay, my name is Fatima Zara and I represent the civilians. Okay, my question is, as stated before, as what you have presented earlier, with the implementation of IR 4.0, the overall productivity, efficiency will increase and thus increasing the country's profit, right? So, but using your knowledge as Malaysian economists, does Malaysia have the adequate resources to implement the IR 4.0 in the first place? That's my question.
Nazali, what are you?
Sorry, I'm like quite lagging. So
Oh,
okay, please group economists, please answer the question. Yes, Brother Hafiz.
Okay, I think for your question, we can see that the economic growth that I shared from 2010 until 2017, it was growing very high. So I believe supposedly Malaysia should be able to implement it as soon as possible. But since we economists only share on how the statistics works, so I believe maybe the government can give you the proper answer since they know just how is the government right now is financially positioned, how it is right now. I can pass it to the government.
So
before you pass to the government, you should know that how much money does it need to start this, because you economists, right? You talk about money. Do you know how much does the company have to invest in order to go for this IR 4.0?
okay.
I'm saving the government, so no, just kidding.
So right now we are passing to the government, maybe, or maybe economists can help the government to answer Madam question.
My question is to the economists.
Okay, so the economists.
We as economists, we don't know the exact number, the exact figure for the cost of implementing the IR 4.0, but we know that it will be very expensive to implement it, and as such, we can say that in short term, the cost to the country will be very significant, but in the long run, we believe that it will surely help to get back all the investments that were put to implement the IR 4.0. That is what we believe. So the exact cost, I don't know.
Let me add something. Because we know that the cost is quite expensive, we as an economist, we have a suggestion for a recommendation to the government that government should conduct the studies to identify which sectors have the most potential to benefit from the IR 4.0, because we cannot just simply put all the money into the all sector, but the sector that we put the money on don't have the potential to benefit from the IR 4.0. As an example, we can choose a manufacturing sector especially the car, the vehicle production sector, to use the automation system, because we know that everyone in Malaysia use car. So if we invest a lot more the technology of IR 0.0, especially the automation of the robotics, we can reduce what we can say the waiting time for the customer to wait for their car. Because I know that my friends now not nowadays, my friends last year they want to buy the Proton, the new X70, but the waiting time can up to nearly 1 year to wait for the car, to wait for the queue to obtain their car. So I think the government can conduct the study to identify which sector first. Thank you.
Okay, so now passing to the government. Any response?
Okay, since you said that the government should conduct the study, isn't it the economist's role to do the study? Because it involves financial from other sectors as well. So
What rule?
the role of conducting the study to determine which sector costs the most and which sector costs the least.
Oh, I think we can just simply make a survey, not survey, just surely the government have the statistic, right? Which sector give to the government the most benefit, the money, which sector. Then from the statistic, from the data, we can simply identify which sector.
Hello. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, yes.
Okay, I think the economists don't listen to us, government. As we mentioned before, our main focus point is the manufacturing section. So the first one is manufacturing, and then the second one is agriculture. That is our focus point to prepare Malaysia to the IR 4.0. And the budget we have planned is about 210 million ringgit. So we have the point what we should focus to prepare Malaysia into the IR 4.0.
Why do you say that the economists didn't listen to the government? Because we actually recommend to you to identify the sector. That we actually give an example that you should consider the manufacturing sector to for the implementation of IR 4.0. Thank you.
Because you guys say that we need to do research, right? But we already have the data actually. We already mentioned it in our section last meeting.
How the economists can help the government?
We study the statistic and forecast, and then we advise the government how to in their decision making.
So what do you think of the government saying manufacturing and just now agriculture? So what do you think about that?
Yeah, yes, we agree with the decision made by the government. Focusing on manufacturing will surely improve the economy of the Malaysia.
So you should also discuss on the budget that the government is saying 200 how many 2010 or no million. Do you agree with that? Is that enough? And and number one, is it enough? Maybe after this we'll hear from the factory owner what they think about this. What do you think it's enough?
210 million. I believe that is a very huge number, and I think we can use it to implement. Maybe just focusing on manufacturing. Yes, I believe we can.
Okay, Ghazali. Any more questions, Ghazali? Do your job.
Okay. So anyone have any more question to the economist?
I have me.
Okay. Khairi Isam first.
Okay, so my name is Khairi Isam and I'm from the government. Since you said that it involves a lot a very expensive initial capital to implement IR 4.0 in our country, And one of the benefits is mentioned earlier is that goods and services could be sold at a lower price. Okay, so my question is, from the government standpoint, how are you able to produce goods and sell it at a lower price when it takes a huge, an enormous amount of capital to start installing IoT and automatics into our country? How do you do that? How long is the prediction to get the return on capital for all our investments beforehand? So that's all.
Thank you, Brother Kari Izam. So what a good question. So let's hear from economists.
So I think I can answer that. You can see from my presentation before, I took Mr. DIY as an example. That project started during 2019, and then they already implemented the warehouse in 2021, which only took about around 2 years to implement the IR 4.0. And we all here know just that Mr. DIY sells their product at a very low price. And we can see that from the trend of the gross profit of the company, we can see that they are increasing even when they started implementing the IR 4.0 during 2019. Then it raised in 2020 their sales. And then we can forecast that for this year, their sales will increase more because the IR 4.0 can started implementing earlier this year. So I believe that this is not a question of maybe the company is scared of implementing the IR 4.0, but be confident that the return will be very significant. And if you implement it early, you will see the result earlier.
Okay, thank you, Brother Hafiz. For there one question from Brother Shawal.
Okay. So I'm Shawal from the factory and owner. So actually, I have two questions. So based on current political situation in Malaysia, we know that many investors has run away from invest in Malaysia on how the economics part want to what we call to membetulkan this situation. And my next question is, investor only invest on certain and big sectors only, not for all the sector that we have in Malaysia. So on how we want to attract the investor to invest on every sector in Malaysia. So that's all from me.
Okay. So group economists, please answer the question.
Shami, you want to answer, Shami?
That's because
For the
that's why for example, the Brother Hafiz said earlier, and Brother Nazhan said earlier, we should not all industries are suitable for adoption of IR 4.0. Some traditional businesses are not even into IR 3.0. So this does not mean every single business entity must embrace 4.0, IR 4.0. Even though we are in even though there is advantage to IR 4.0, that does not mean everyone must embrace the IR 4.0, because that might be a problem, since might not be a problem, since it involves the small supplier products or services for local demand. So that's why we need to just focus on the industries that like Brother Nazan said, that will provide more benefit to the economy of the country. So I think
you're not answering the question. So because he asked how to retain the investor, right? If I'm not mistaken, that's the question.
Oh, how to retain? I think the second question, I think like Brother Shami said, when we focus on a sector, we say manufacturing, and then we implement the IR 4.0, and then we of course the productivity will increase, and this will then attract more investors to invest to the sector. But then for the first question, for the political issue, I think we as economists don't have the power to say anything about that one. So we don't know how. Maybe the government can say something on the political issue.
Maybe one of the government can answer the Brother Shawal question. Maybe Brother Shawal, can you repeat your first question again? Because some of us cannot hear it clearly.
Hello.
Okay.
Okay, so for the first question is current political situation has made investor run away from invest in Malaysia. So on how either the economic or government want to solve this issue?
Okay, based on Brother Shawal question, I think economists also take a part on how to attract the investor to our country. So maybe both economists and government can try to answer Brother Shawal question.
The economists have given our answer, maybe so the government.
Okay, Brother Shawal is asking, oh sorry, I'm Zarin from the government. Okay, Brother Shawal, you're asking about how are we going to solve the political issue? Do you mean the scandal issue?
No. Not to solve the political issue, but
What do you
on
mean?
how to solve the problem that investor run away from Malaysia. They are not going to invest in Malaysia anymore, but they're going to neighbor country like Indonesia, India for the future.
Or what you mean is about how are we going to do to get their trust? Is it to invest in our country?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
More like that.
Okay, about that, most of the country from other than Malaysia, they know we are still a developing country, and I don't think if they doesn't have confidence in investing our country, it's probably about our economy. Okay, so when our economy at the bottom, so there is a relation in our organization. I mean, so I hate to say this, but probably this is from the ministry fault. So the government, we will study this again to solve this problem by we will go to the country like Germany, Japan. As we all know, we have diplomatic relation with the Japan, right? So I don't think it is a problem for our country to get the confidence from foreign country to invest our country. Am I answering your question?
Yes.
Okay, so on the so it's a good political answer on that. So you go back to drawing board. However, the economists, I'm still because you are saying just now you will make sure everything good, then investor will come. But in the first place, to build the infrastructure requires a lot of money. That in the starting where we need the investor, that's the problem. So your answer is not really helping economists.
I think that the first step is to create awareness of the IR 4.0 and to engage with stakeholders if necessary, because many are still not aware of the advantages of the IRA 4.0 to their industry, because they are not fully aware of the importance and benefits of IRA 1.0. So we need to prepare to engage and entice these companies, these local companies to transform to the IR 4.0 first. So the first thing to do is we should really try to make our local companies to transition to IR 4.0 first.
Okay,
Therefore,
so we will hear about this from the factory owner after this. Okay, any more question on to the economists before we move next? Azali?
Okay, I think there is no more question to the economists. So let's continue our discussion. So now, ladies and gentlemen, I will like to welcome the fourth group, which is the factory owner. Please, the floor is yours.
Government, economists, Board of Engineers Malaysia need to listen carefully lah to what the factory owners want to say.
Okay, I think Brother Shawal already shared their screen, but I cannot see it.
I also cannot see. Is it the internet? Shawal, are you here?
Yes, I'm here. Can see it or not?
Cannot see the slide.
Okay.
Okay.
Now I can see it.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Yeah. So today,
Razali, you take note of the time, right?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
so today we are going to talk about factory owner point of view regarding IR 4.0. Next, please. Next, very short.
I think it's internet house, okay.
Okay, firstly, IR 4.0 promotes smart factory, which focus on the digitization and automation of factory process. It includes cutting-edge technology such as big data analytics, artificial intelligence, 3D printing, machine learning, cloud computing, as well as cybersecurity. According to 2020 report from the Deputy Minister of Economic Affairs, Malaysia manufacturing industry contribute approximately 22.3% of the country gross domestic product, which is second biggest GDP contribution. In terms of IR 4.0 adoption, there are three leading manufacturing in sector in IR 4.0 in Malaysia, which is electric and electronic, aerospace, and automotive. Next. Okay, so what are the challenges to implement IR 4.0 for the factory owner? Firstly, are the investment. In Malaysia, there is no specific incentive or financial support for IR 4.0 from either investor or the government. It is difficult for us as manufacturers to conduct R&D while also implying technologies related to IR 4.0. As a result, the country faces plenty of issues, includes a lack of testing, prototyping, and technological advancement. Therefore, organization and business owners are unprepared for this new implementation. Secondly, are the lack of proper infrastructure. Secondly, is no clear, comprehensive, and policy coordination. According to Malaysia Ministry of International Trade and Industry, there is a lack of coordination among local organizations in moving forward towards Industry 4.0 vision. As a result, the stakeholders are unwilling to adopt the required technology. Therefore, there are no fully government initiate programs that support Industry 4.0 specification. Thirdly, lack of proper infrastructure. Even though Malaysia is a developed country that welcomes IR 4.0, there is still a lack of technological supply and training in major industries. For example, some companies do not even provide broadband, which is undeniably the most essential requirement for the fourth revolution industry. Even some companies have access to the high-speed internet, they don't practice training their employee for the further needs. Fourthly, the coordination. For the new system, a new model and strategy must be developed. All companies must go through special training in order to use IR 4.0 technology. Okay, next. Okay, there is some benefits of IR 4.0 implementation on factories in Malaysia, which is elimination of human error, attract investor and founder, improve productivity, maximize profits, and real-time tracking of business data and supply chain. So what are our demand to the government to achieve IR 4.0? Firstly, we proposed and demanded that the government provide subsidies and financial assistance to manufacturing in order to equip and maintain our factory with new technology that is compatible with IR 4.0. Secondly, the government must make a strategy to attract investors to invest in all sectors of manufacturing industry. And lastly, enforce an authority that will provide guidance, training, and support to manufacturers in order for the IR 4.0 to be implemented and maintained in Malaysia. So that's it from factory owner point of view.
Okay. So is that factory owner?
Yes, that's it.
Okay. Okay. Thank you very much, factory owner. Wow, what a interesting and informative discussion. So I hope the government, the board of engineer, the economists can take note what does the factory owner want. So any question that you guys want to ask to the factory owner?
Before that, I'm just curious, factory owner, where's your team member? The rest of your team member?
All are here.
All here?
Yes.
Okay, they are not presenting. Why only one? You decided one only?
Because you said that it up to us either we want to all present or only one can present. So we choose the only one.
Yeah, my question is why? Why? I give you the liberation to choose. My question is why?
Because first we want to make it clear, and second is because of the time.
Okay.
We don't want to drag the time.
All right. Okay, Ghazali. Thank you.
Okay. So anyone from the government, economists, or board of engineer may want to ask, or maybe the opposition or civilians maybe can ask a question to the factory owner.
Okay, Assalamualaikum. I'm Nadia from the civilians. There's actually a first question I wanted to ask from the factory owner. the way you present just now is, are you presenting for the foreign workers or local workers or both of them? Are you representing for local and foreign workers or just foreign workers?
We present as a factory owner that include all our staff members and all that are including in the factory, not only for a specific person.
So okay, if I'm not mistaken, I've had an experience to be in a factory, manufacturing factory. What I can see is that most of the workers are the foreign workers, and the factory already wanted to implement the robotics and such that you have just mentioned just now, but then they have to ask the end user, which are the foreign workers. Mostly they are foreign workers. They for them they doesn't favor much on by using internet. They didn't like use the handphones because I believe that if you want to implement this kind of robotics in the factory, you have to have at least handphone or any gadgets in your hand to keep in tracks your product coming, product out. But they don't actually favors that much. They find it very not useful for them because they have to carry some things in their hand. So do you have something to cater this issue?
Yes, it's like on our demand, is we want to implement or to give all the staff must go special training or something like to make sure that all the staff and the workers are very familiar and will be familiar with the new technology. So that's my answer.
Yeah, but you should provide the training, no?
Yes.
But are you providing the training or no?
With the help of the authorities or some other parts, since not all the manufacturers in Malaysia are already imply the IR 4.4. Because of that, we demanding the support from the government and any authorities or NGOs to help us to provide the support and training for all the staff and workers.
So you're putting the ball to the government and to provide the training. So you cannot provide the training on your own.
Yes, because we need help and support.
Why you need help and support? Okay, the government say you pay us, we give you the training. Then what?
Because it is mentioned that one of our challenge to propose the IR 4.0 is the what we call the budget. So
okay. Azali.
Okay, I think is there any question to the factory owner?
Assalamualaikum. I'm Ashraf from the opposition. I would like to ask one question. Since IR 4.0 is focused on implementing machineries that can operate by themselves, so what will happen to your human workers after they got replaced by the machines? Thanks.
Okay, thank you, Brother Ashraf. Such an interesting question. So let's hear from factory owner about their opinions for this problem. Okay, Brother Arif or Brother Muzammil.
For the can you hear me?
Yes, but it's quite lagging.
I have we actually have a plan where to make a collaboration program with a government or any NGOs to provide training to the existing workers, training or and to provide a replacement to give them a new place to work. Is it clear? because there is other small industries that need workers instead of robots, as we are going towards IR 4.0. So the main point is to provide to make a collaboration program between government to provide training for the existing workers. Is it clear?
Yeah, it's clear, but I'm not quite clear about what you. I mean, like you're asking. You said that you want to the workers will go to the other sectors, right? Can you give us the example of the sectors that doesn't need the robot but need the workers? Like you said just now.
My group members. Yes. As we know, there are other small sectors that example. Example. For example, the serving sectors where like, oh, can you help me, gangs?
Please, anyone from factory owners can help them.
For example, there are some small industrial, some small sector industry that needs a worker like serving sectors or building sectors and construction sector. We can as the question asked by Ashraf just now, we can take that those that lost their or not lost their work. We can hire the one that lost their job to into this sector like service sectors, building and construction. And I want to ask one thing, as our demand stated by our group member just now, we will provide, we will collect government to provide a guidance and training for this worker that as we know, the IF 4.0 needs a high skill demand workers. So in order to menyediakan them with this high skill, so we will ask the government and collect with them to provide specific incentive to support them and give the exposure about the IoT and like other things that relate to IF 4.0 in order to make sure them they know how to adapt with IR 4.0 for to these workers.
Okay. But you said that you want to collect with the government, right? So who will take the responsibility? I mean, like the one that will pay for the workers. I mean, when you provide the cost, or maybe it will take times, right, to training the training the employee. Like maybe if they want to training for the IoT, maybe it will take like 3 years. So they will cost a lot of money. So who's will take the responsibility? Is it the government or is it the factory owner that will pay for the training?
I think that the government just mentioned that they had spent about 250 million funds to implement the IR 4.0. I think they can give us the budget, I think, as their role as a government.
But the thing is, when you say you push them to services and construction, so if you have your own brother and sister, you know, having a CJ lah, and now working in a factory, the factory dia kerja kilang now, yang pergi balik hari kerja kilang tu, now you are pushing them to like become construction, you know, like what construction working is. So that's what your solution is, factory owner?
That not the first or the what we call the important or the first solution that we are going to do. So the first solution is to anyone who are qualified or who have any experience on that. We are going first to train them to make sure that they are familiar and they can what we call work together with all the technologies. Since even though we are implemented all the technologies in the factory, we still need human workers.
Yeah, but not as much.
Yeah, but also when all the investor has come on to invest or to make a new factory or anything like that, it also will increase the job opportunities that we can produce, that we can give all the workers or anyone who qualified the job for them.
Okay. So, is there anyone from other group want to ask a question to factory owner?
I have a questions. I'm Amin from Worker Association. So as you mentioned that workers will undergo special training. So my question is, how long will the training be? And is there any allowance provided? Because we still need to feed our family, right? Thank you.
Okay. Thank you for this question. Even though this is our demand and solution, but this already happened in our manufacturing sector nowadays. There are selective or several types of training that we can undergo. What we call the short period time is normally like for the 3 months, and for the long term, it can go up until 1 year. And normally, factory will provide them with if the workers is already what we call signed a contract or already a permanent worker, they will receive their salary like usually. But if they want just the one who new application or anything like that, they will receive what we call an allowance for if they want to join the what we call the cost for this. So
all right, thank you.
Okay, thank you for factory owners. So let's continue our discussion. So let's welcome the fifth group.
Before continue, Azali, can I have the last question to the factory owner? What do you think, is there any environmental impact of doing this IR 4.0 in the factories? Is there any environmental impact? If yes,
so okay. So to answer this question, basically all the factory that are already implemented the IR 4.0 in their company is not have environmental impact to the environment, since they need to pass all of the regulation that are provided by what we call such as from the Jabatan Alam Sekitar or any.
although they comply by the rules, but there is environmental impact, right? The carbon footprint, all that.
But it is not as big as the old technology or old factory, since all the newest factory have less impact compared to the old factory.
You'll be using more electricity, no?
Yeah, but all the factory area or industrial area nowadays are moving to use the solar power, not like the old.
Yeah, but how much? Can you tell me how many company are actually using solar at the moment? Which is, I don't think, very high.
Yeah, because not much company that already implemented the IR 4.0.
Yeah, so if
the new industry area like at the Kulim Bandar Baru, they already or at Pago, if I'm not mistaken, they already use the solar power can support up to 50% of the power, and they also have some of kind of the reverse technology that can produce power, like some sort of technology.
I will argue there will be more, there will be other environmental impact. If you use IR 4.0, number one, the electricity will be high. Therefore, if you say solar, how is our solar support system to the country? That one. If you reduce the labor, human labor, we use more electricity. Number two, when you say IR 4.0, we have more electronics that you use. How about the e-waste? We're talking about, being a Khalifa here, right? So how about the waste? Because we have robot working, the maintenance, and then you will throw the robot away after certain, time. So are we thinking about the environmental impact of this, I 4.0 or no? Or is actually, has anybody which group should do study on this, the environmental impact of IR 4.0? Do you think which group should study this and come up with a solution?
I think Board of Engineer or opposition, maybe.
Is that an answer or you're asking them to answer, Ghazali?
I am asking them to answer.
Oh, okay, all right.
I'm just giving my voice out, my opinion.
Okay, good. Board of Engineers Malaysia is a good candidate to answer. Are you here?
Okay, hello. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. I'm Shukri, representative of Port Engineer. So about the ecological waste that gonna be problem for IR 4.0. About that, usually the implementation of IR 4.0 is related to big machine such as the automatic log cutter, and usually the wasted from this smart machine is not significantly impact the ecology, the environment, because as for example near my house is most of the factory there is like furniture factory. They my river not like wasted, tercemar, and tak tercemar sangat, not polluted by the factory. So I assume that
you cannot assume like that, but it's not just the environmental impact, it's pollution to the river. How about the dumping of the waste? Because some of the electronics are toxic.
About the dumping
to the earth.
About the electronic device that have been dumped, we also have the organization that calls waste management. For my country, for Johor, it's called sub waste management, which is they allocate some like dustbin or
yeah, but that's maybe just for the housing and to the civilian, not factory.
No, because my dad also work there. He said that the factory also eligible to minta to ask for the dustbin so that when they have duty to pick up the rubbish, the big lorry will also come to pick up the machine dump.
So what they do with the waste?
About that, I'm not sure where it's bring on.
Because that's what I'm saying. Maybe Board of Engineers Malaysia need to do study on this, on the waste. If what is the impact of the IR 4.0 to the environment, if there's any. If not, then it's okay. But if there's any, somebody need to do the study. Okay, Ghazali, let's move.
Okay, understand.
Okay, so let's continue our discussion. Please welcome the sixth presenter, which is the opposition. Please, the floor is yours. Are you there, opposition?
Hello, can you see the slide?
Cannot.
No, not yet. How about now?
Yes, now I can see.
Okay, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. I'm Muhammad Syafin Nazaruddin, a representative from the opposition group. And this is our presentation on the IR 4.0. Okay, so since most of the group have talked about the IR 4.0, I will only go briefly through the definitions and all. So IR 4.0 is basically we allow the machines to communicate between themselves and think of decisions and making decisions in between themselves without with little interaction between humans. Okay, so here are the components of the IR 4.0. Starting from the bottom, we have the cyber physical system, which is we put sensors on devices where it can input and output or detect changes in the environment. And then we have the Internet of Things, where the cyber physical system or CPS interacts with other CPS. And then we have Internet of System, where it is the combination of Internet of Things, where things, the Internet of Things interact with each other. And then we have the Smart Factory, where the factory implements the Internet of System, and all the combination of this will result in the IR 4.0. Okay, so next we'll go straight forward to the pros and cons of the IR 4.0. For the pros, we have and by implementing the IR 4.0, companies that implement it will gain competitive advantage over other companies, and also it will most definitely increase efficiency, and it can produce more products for less workers, and for more output for the same amount of resources as compared to other methods. And with increased efficiency, it will also increase in the income of the company. And then next, it will also provide better products and services. And by product and services, it means that it will cause less hassle for the end users to use the product. And also it will allow for more development in the market and allow for new products to emerge. And overall, it improves lives of users if it is done correctly. And so moving on, we'll talk about the cons, where we will go deeply in a moment. The first cons is definitely cost, where it will definitely involves a lot of cost to implement the technology, and it will be hard for smaller companies to do so. And also it also have a high rate of failure, which many stakeholders involved might not have the same goals as the company. So for example, if one stakeholder wants to focus on profit, but another stakeholder wants to focus on the time consumption. So for example, this company A is a subcon of this big company, and it wants the thing to finish fast and use the least amount of money, but another company wants to use the higher technology and produce more. And so when there are conflicting interests between the stakeholders, there will be we will cause the high rate of failure. And then implementation of IR 4.0 will definitely need high skilled workers, not mainly to use the systems, but to maintain and to allow the system to work in the first place.
And then also another con is certain companies might become obsolete or could not survive if other companies move to IR 4.0. So for example, in Amazon, they have a service where they deliver the products by using drones. So by using drones, it will it will decrease the needs for traditional courier services. So if other big companies uses drones instead of outsourcing courier services, the courier service might go down. And also there is a very high possibility of corruption to occur since we need a lot of money. As we know, in many governments, there will also be some opportunities for the monies to go somewhere else. So a high possibility of corruption might occur. So we will go deeper into this. I will pass the mic to Brother Razi and Sister Sarah.
Okay, thank you, Brother Ashraf, and thank you, Mr. Speaker. So I will continue with our opposition's concerns on the readiness and preparation for Malaysia IR 4.0 implementation. Okay, first, just as Brother Ashraf said, so the first issue that we have is the high cost. So we know that technology is a major cost development to consider. The expertise in enabling the technology to be implemented, having the know-how, the professionals in these newer fields, such as like IoT, augmented reality, and AI, can actually lead to a major budget constraints, not to mention a lack of understandings to parties involved. So by the implementing of this IR 4.0, companies would need to adapt to the rapid technological changes that actually affect the way how the business actually operate in Malaysia's digital economy, maybe after 10 to 20 years. So companies have to embrace the changes. So the changes that we're going to point out is such as data explosion. Okay, and data explosion is actually referring to the need to send information more and more quickly and increase the data volume. So this is closely related to the internet. And the other one is the transformation of workforce. By integrating the system operators with new skills that actually enable it to manage work digitally with the help of cyber physical systems. So the question is, does all companies in Malaysia have the capacity for that big of a change right now? So just like our economist said, not all business are ready for IR 4.0. So I think that statement itself actually explains about the readiness and preparation of Malaysia towards IR 4.0. One more issue that I want to address is we have, which is not closely related, but still can be related, which is the issue of the internet in Malaysia. We have that, we know that in MUA, that they does not receive any help in students regarding their tablet needs and PC or internet. So this shows the issue of priorities, which that we need to focus on, rather in industrial, or we need to focus on the student study, because these students are going to be the high-skilled workers. They are going to operate our IR 4.0 in manufacturing sectors. Okay, next. Okay, next, the other concerns that we have is the cybersecurity. So we know that by the implementation of IR 4.0, people, products, and equipment is and will increasingly be connected to the internet. So although it does actually give greater access to data by using the cloud, however, it actually opens up the opportunities for hackers to access our networks. So there's been a report in the Star in a newspaper article on 19 September 2021, which is quite recent. So it said, and I quote, every day, an average of 31 cases of cybersecurity incidents like fraud, hacking, and data breaches actually happen in Malaysia. Even August this year, an increase from average 29 cases a day reported to cybersecurity in Malaysia last year. And in 2020, 59 cases of ransomware were reported, with victims being 35 organizations and 24 individuals. Okay,
Brother
ransomware
Razik,
is, yeah.
sorry, can you have like 30 seconds more? Can you just conclude all your points?
Okay. Okay, so the registry record actually shows that number of cybersecurity incidents have been steadily rising from 2019 to even last year. So it is more common now that organizations and companies rather than individuals to face this type of incident. So this is trend since 2018. Okay, so I will pass this to Sarah.
I think we don't have time to pass to your friend. So you need to like budget lah whenever you present. The first one should budget. So if you the first one take a lot of time, your friend doesn't have enough time to present. So we'll bring the rest to next class, inshallah. So we give some extra time for the sister to conclude. Then we have a Q&A. So can stop sharing for now. So for today, I think everybody keep your question. We'll bring to next class. If possible, during your Q&A next time, can you include the elements that you watched the video before? I give you some certain videos of environment, few things. Can you bring just to show that you actually use, you watch and you know how to use the information that you watch in the video on this issue problem. Okay, Ghazali.
Okay. So I think everyone, so that's all for today. Thank you very much for participating. So let's maybe before that, Madam, can we have our today's keyword for attendance?
Okay, so the password for today's attendance will be what? Okay, tanya Syawal, give one. Syawal, you there? Oh, tak ada internet.
Yes,
Give one keyword.
environment.
Okay, so the keyword is environment. Okay, thank you. Overall, until now, I'm very happy with your presentation. I think you actually show good discussion and argumentative skills. I'm quite impressed, to be honest. So we'll see next class, inshallah. So thank you very much. Let's end today's. May Allah make it easy for you. I understand you are struggling. Everybody are struggling. Sometimes don't put the as we understand Islam, right? It's not we who solve problems. Allah who solve the problems. We just think of a solution, right? So therefore, with whatever you're going through, the busyness, everything, put the trust to Allah. So not on you. So if you feel it's so difficult and so go back to Allah and ask Allah to help you. If Allah wants to help you, 1 single second, everything like done. So let's instead of putting trust to yourself, let's put trust on Allah and ask Allah to make our whatever we do easy, inshallah. I mean, with that, let's end with tasbih kifarah. Doa first. Anybody to give barakah to this evening? Those who haven't recited the doa, you know who you are. Okay, Razik.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillah rabbil alamin wassalatu wassalamu ala asyrafil anbiya'i wal mursalin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Allahumma ahdina bil iman wa amitna bil iman wa adkhilna jannata ma'al iman. Allahumma ighfir lana dhunubana wa li walidina warhamna kama rabbayana shaghira. Allahumma ahdina bi husnil khatimah wa la takhtim alaina bi su'il khatimah. Rabbana la tuzigh qulubana ba'da idh hadaytana wa hab lana min ladunka rahmah innaka antal wahhab. ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم الحمد لله رب العالمين.
Alhamdulillah rabbil alamin. Thank you very much, Brother Razik. Let's end with tasbih kifarah and surah al-Asr. Subhanakallahumma bihamdika.